Hey everybody, welcome back to Swing Trading. Good to be back with you. Mike Fairborn here for our swing trade class. That short-term time frame, folks, on those moves, normally 3 to 15 days, really trying to take a look at the strongest part of the stock move itself in this class. And so what I wanted to do was talk about a few different items that we've got going on today, folks. What about trading? What about a stock moving in above a volume type wall? Talking about a volume profile wall, folks, those areas are really known by a lot of traders when prices get above that volume wall for a potential move that could actually be a little bit quicker. And so combining, if you will, the swing trade with the volume profile, really tying in to our last week's discussion as it does relate to, money flow, on-balance volume. Those two, there's kind of a natural blend, right? It's like mashed potatoes and gravy, just using that turkey Thanksgiving theme coming up. But it's very, very similar. You get a lot of correlations between those two. You want to see some volume strength buying right around potentially a bull flag or a particular price pattern. So we're going to look at that today for sure. And there is a little bit of fuzziness. Let me just double check and make sure we can just clear that up. Well, we've got it. Sometimes that'll happen, but don't have that adjusting photo there or lens on the camera. But okay, told that we are good, so fantastic. Let's get going, folks. But hey, welcome to all of you. See you in the chat. I'm also joining the chat. Good friend and colleague of mine, and no stranger to swing trading. Does a lot of trading, teaches a lot of trading type classes. James Boyd, see him in the chat as JB. In fact, I just did a chat for Boyd earlier today, so we're doing a little switcheroo now. Folks, let's hit some disclosures to get going here. All right, information here is for general information purposes only. Now, options carry a high level of risk. They're not suitable for all investors. Short options can be assigned at any time up to expiration, regardless of the in-the-money amount. An ITM option does have a higher risk of being assigned early. A short put risks purchasing the underlying stock at the strike price when the market price of the stock will likely be lower. The paper money software application is for education purposes only. Investing does involve risk, including loss of principal. No guarantee that execution of a stop order will be at or near the stop price, and past performance is no guarantee of future results. Dividends are not guaranteed. Folks, finally here, futures and futures options trading involves substantial risk. Not simple for all investors. Just wanted to highlight that because we do look at some of the futures contracts, just like we're going to do today. All right, so there you go. Yeah, I caught the note early about the fuzziness. Thanks, Jay Richardson and others, but we did get that fixed, and I think we're all set and ready to go. Indeed we are. All right. Well, folks, hey, I was wondering today, and the day's not done yet. Obviously, we're still open. Markets are still open. We got another basically hour left to go, but I was wondering what was going to happen today right around, just as a quick note, this is a key point too, because not only are there volume profiles that fall in this level, but there might also be, of course, that 50-period moving average that we've been watching for a while. Look at that. We are breaking above it according to the S&P 500 index right now. In terms of the market itself, we weren't earlier throughout the day, so we did pick up some steam, and there you have it right there. That can be a positive because, prices going back down below the 50 and then bouncing back up above can be an indication of the possibility of, well, that longer term trend coming back into gear. And like we've been saying, and I know many of you have seen this, but pulling this back a little bit, it's not too unusual, canny, for prices to pull back approximately 5%, 5 to 8 is what I've been reading. I've read different different books over the years, whatever the case is. I don't have one in particular to note, but approximately 5% pullbacks are not unusual when you have these big sort of bullish upward moves. Okay. And so this could just be a resumption of the trend is what I'm getting at. You get above the 50. The 100-day moving average, I'm not going to go through the time to put it on here, but it's roughly right off of, if you would draw for me, there we go, right off of that low right there, or very close to that low. So it was a little bit of a pinball for a little bit between the two, which will happen sometimes. And now can we extend higher is the question, but it could be encouraging from a trader's perspective. Traders might look at this and say, if we can close above there, again, we're not there yet. We've got a little bit of time to go, don't we? But this comes into play because even though this is the S&P 500, well, just look at this. Is that not kind of a flag type pattern? We're getting off that bottom. We'd already had our close above the high to low day hold. And now the question is can we break and extend higher here? So, all right, that's that. Hey, let's review some of the swing trades from last week and the week before, actually, because we still have this one on Bungie, still floating around. Remember, this is the play on good old beans. Soybeans, that is. Soybeans, where are you? You're in there somewhere. Okay, well, anyways, I'll just type in the symbol. That's easier. Soybeans. And remember what we talked about with soybeans. There can be some indication that China, well, there is an indication, in fact, they promised to increase the purchases of soybeans that they had stopped in that was March of April, and then we went through a sideways channel. We had a big run here in anticipation that was going to continue. It stopped. Boom, there's your gap because the administration, I think it's the secretary. Anyways, Scott Bessent's his name. Anyways, made the deal with China saying, yeah, that they will make those purchases toward the end of the year. Anyways, that was the macro driver behind the scenes. Not to get too deep in the weeds, but there are a few things going on behind that BG trade, and it's still sitting in that flag pattern. So we're still holding that position on BG right now, as you can see. Upward move. You guys know how this goes. I don't even need to tell you. You guys could do this in your sleep now. We've seen so many of these flag patterns, but there you go. Sideways. By the way, post earnings, right? So we're past earnings. It seemed like the market was okay with those earnings. And here we go. So looking at this move and really taking a look at where a flag pattern, according to the way, traders will utilize this, the extensions here is that this move here to here, followed by this move here to here, that's about a 110. I'm just eyeballing it. I don't know. It could be a little bit more, a little bit less. But off of those lows, that would be our T2 target. The T1 is right up to these highs right there, the prior highs. But BG is still in place. Maybe another big purchase of soybeans could do it. I don't know. We can just say that it could be strong. I would say on this is really weird too. The one category that I think is weak, that did weaken over this pullback, is the money flow. Anybody pick up on that? I'll go back and look at your comments, and notice you guys will pick up on these from time to time. There's the pullback right there. And it dipped. I mean, we're dipping all the way down roughly to this level, or very close price-wise. That's not great. I would call that a negative. The one thing I would say that's kind of potentially a silver lining here is the fact that it is based upon a soybean purchase. And it wasn't known until over here. And so a lot of this lower type movement was based upon, hey, maybe China won't buy soybeans for a very long time, if ever again. That got flipped. So we'll see, but I don't know. And by the way, there's also political risk, right? What if China and America don't agree on something and they say, you know what, bag those soybean purchases? Bungie is the biggest, not producer. They might be a producer, but they're involved, at least in terms of just investigating it a little bit, in terms of soybean. And you can see how it gapped with soybeans over here. There are others as well. Archer Daniel Midland is another one. So that's steady as she goes. I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, are we going to pull the plug on this one yet? Still holding in the flag pattern, still dragging, but perhaps maybe getting closer, because we might be getting closer to this diagonal trend coming on down. One thing, too, with those diagonal trends, you can just use click and click again. I'm going to use the body of the candle. We're right there. Right click. Create an alert with the drawing tool. So you got to change this. So crosses above, we'll call it a breakout, question mark, and we can get that texted to us. Quick note on that. If you've been having any issues getting text, and I believe some of you have, go make sure you're down below under this notify with right here. Click on this box, scroll on down, and you'll see it right there. Check mark in. Send push notifications to mobile devices. That's got to be on. We'll hear the sound. But if you're not in front of the computer, it won't do you a ton of good. There you go. It might actually break while we're in class, but we'll see what happens. Okay, next one we looked at, we did get a trade on this, CCEP. This is the Coca-Cola European. And this is one that did have a dividend, so it pays a dividend. And we looked at this trade as a shoulder, head, shoulder. You guys remember what the extension is on this? Where is the extension? It's generally the length, the highest length between this top and this bottom of the move, okay? And you make that projection. Let me change colors here. This is kind of a, in a lot of ways, this class is like a price patterns class as well, because we do so many price patterns here within this, but we take this distance and we just simply add the high to the low of the inverted head and shoulders pattern, and we extend that up higher, and voila, what's that? Oh, that would be the 100 level, which you guys have seen before. Stocks might find resistance at this level, and you see it right there. But hey, I'll tell you what, that right there is not a bad swing trade. We're close to 90.91. We'll see if we get it. The real question on this, and we've asked this question before, we brought it up. We've asked if you guys look at this and, in terms of money management, but look over here with me. What about a break above that 92.50? If we break above here, I saw an interesting trade that JB did today, a paper money trade as well. I'll highlight it right after this. In terms of a potential breakout trade, if we break out here, sometimes traders will do this. Let's just say we have 100 here. Shares, we're long a lot, around lot. What if we added another 100 on the breakout? But it's confirmed we're waiting for the close above that level. Tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to set an alert there because we're going to do that on this trade just as an example. Okay, so I want to see a close at least above, not the highs, but a new closing high. So I'm just saying if we're above this level, let us know. Add to position, question mark. Again, taking advantage of the capabilities and the capacity of the Thinkorswim platform. And that, by the way, right there is the break on BG. Now, what we could do, let's do this at the end of the class. Let's see if we want to add to the BG position, just on a trend line break as an example, because the price may be getting started. Okay, because we got our alert there. I don't think we're going to get one on CP. It's kind of a slow mover, but this is, remember, we're not looking at like a long run like this. We've simply just done this, folks. We've just done this. We've said, that's our pattern. We trade 3 to 15 days of it. And if it breaks out above there, and we've already added this position, we've made a purchase on this position because we did get a hold right there, right? And so, yeah, we have a target, which is short term. So it's not like this giant flag. That could be a giant flag. It very well could be. But our emphasis is on narrowing that down closer and closer and closer to that pattern that we're seeing, right? And normally those are within a couple months. This is about, I guess you could say that's about a 2-month price pattern. Faya stays away from the beans, huh? The soybeans, okay. Yeah, well, there's that political risk out there. We've talked about that because, as I mentioned with the China situation, here's the other one we did, which is DOV, which is DOV, which is Dover Corp. And a quick note on Dover right here, because I don't think we went through it in its entirety. But these guys provide equipment and components, consumable supplies, aftermarket. They do a lot. But if you look in here, it's light and heavy duty vehicle lifts, etc. It's kind of in the industrial area. Some of those have been doing well as of late. Do you guys see the flag there, or is it just me? And potentially the break of that flag. Now, we added to this position too. You remember where it was? We didn't get it during class, but we said if we can break above a trend line here, we got a little bit early, but it is also following through a little bit there too. Okay, you see it? Where's the target on it? Can you guys already see the T2 in place? Here's your initial pull basically, probably measuring it off as something like that. That's up that's about a 20-point move or so. So you're really close to another big round number, 200. 200, hard to miss. So there could be resistance there. But again, that's just that 3 to 15-day move right there. Some traders will use options like a long call on this. We might look at those in a bit in our class, just depending upon where we're at. But folks, that's a review. So as it stands right now, you got it, David, 200. Yep. As it stands right now, kind of steady as she goes. It's doing what we anticipated despite a volatile week. Last week, they still held up. And a lot of that is we were looking for stocks that had, remember one of the themes last week? I know it was on balance volume, but it was also maybe getting past earnings and maybe some positive earnings responses from the market as well. That's a big thing that could be off our minds if that continues to go. Because it's not completely, but I mean, a lot of times on those earnings, it's the guidance thereafter the traders really gravitate towards. All right. Now, for the new, let's look at some potential new additions because our inventory of swing trades is kind of expanding right now. Here we go. Oh, by the way, that one I was going to tell you that JB did earlier, many of you saw it. It wasn't Walmart. It was, don't tell me, it was GEHC. For those of you in this class, and this was kind of the move, a breakout above a range. This too could be interesting. The thing I was waiting for here is, and we're getting closer to it, it's within close to an hour, well, less than an hour, will we actually close above this range? Because there's been a very close to that level as well. Trying to get above it, we haven't yet. So this is another one that is interesting with some big, the volume on this one really kind of a standout. In fact, all right, JB. I didn't mean to take this. Well, I didn't take this from you. You already presented it, and I gave you full credit for it. But look over here. That's the highest volume we've seen across that band. Maybe we should put a trade on here just as a breakout swing trade. Although it's not closed above there yet. We're closer to it. So we could still do one as an example here. But look at this. I mean, what this tells us, according to money flow or on balance volume, again, those two are very, very similar. It says we're clearing this range right there. We're above it. Look over here with me. 95. Does that make sense with a pattern retracement, long picture, big picture pattern? Or I would even say this. Well, here's your measured move. Here's your range here and here. Add 10 points to it, 90. Okay? You just add it to it. That's referred to as a MM. A measured move, right? Money flow's bought into this. Let's go ahead and do it. Let's go ahead and put in that trade since we have, in fact, given JB full credit for it. All right, let's put it in and just do it. Let's just get one under our belt right now. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do a buy custom with a stop, and I'll go ahead and submit that right now. Let's make these GTC, good till cancel, so the order itself, as well as the other trade, won't fall off. And let me do this again real quick. I'm just going to highlight this and just show you what I did. I went through that a little bit quick. Sorry, I've got some others to look at, but there you go. When you put this in, I'm not going to hit it again, but just always be mindful of that order confirmation dialog box as well. So some good insights in there for sure. Like I said, we just did one. We put one on here. This will be the breakout trade, the potential exit level in terms of the stop. We mentioned the stop earlier. I'm putting it below the low of the breakout bar. I'm keeping it fairly tight because why do we want to get it any tighter than that? Maybe we don't. Maybe that's tight enough. So here's our high, there's the low, trading below the breakout bar. And give it a little bit of range, but the thing that I want you guys to think about is if we were to go below here, doesn't that kind of go against what we were looking at? I mean, this looks like a very, you got a lot of indications here. Volume here, accumulated volume, accumulation of volume, according to money flow, and you'd anticipate sort of a move. And if you take this out, doesn't that then start to look a little bit like, we'll go red. this, 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 so on and so forth. It looks like it might be hitting resistance and coming back down like a fake out. You've heard of the fake out. It's not a breakout, but a fake out. So in that case, we keep the stop, potential exit, really quite close, all else equal. All right. Now, I didn't want to pass that one up because I had mentioned it, and I thought that was an interesting one too. The volume was really interesting in terms of the volume profile. You don't see that a lot where it's breaking above such a higher range, but there you go. Okay, this is the next one for us. Kind of similar in a sense, and this is where I really wanted to highlight volume profile and talk about this important metric that you wouldn't see otherwise. If you don't have volume profile, folks, I'm telling you, it's going to be very, very difficult to keep a watch on this. I'm going to go 6 months. I could go shorter. There are these spikes within the volume profile. Spike. This happens to be the point of control. This is the highest volume in terms of prices, trades that have come in at a volume level. So all we're doing here, we're taking this volume and we're saying, what prices did this volume come in at? And that's what creates the volume profile. And with that, we see something very, very interesting occur within a volume profile. And that is, these are referred to as volume nodes. This is the top 10% of volume over the past 6 months. But anytime you see that spike, that's what we're talking about. The spike in volume. And it might be the bar right after it, the bar right before it, but you're getting an idea that it's right through there. That represents substantial volume, okay? And it can present itself as resistance. And a lot of traders might have positions they take on, they put off, you know, a lot of different reasons when there's been a lot of buying and selling there. That it could be, honestly, it could be a fundamental value level on the chart that people are buying. They're anticipating it could break above, whatever the case might be. That's where the buying has been at over this entire time frame, really through October. We just took it out. This is the key point that I wanted to illustrate, because when we get these sort of scenarios and setups, look at this. See the volume? It just begins to do this. Kind of like the same concept with the other breakouts we were looking at. Just recently, that GEHC, right, for example, it's getting into a range it hasn't been into before. It can make, prices can move a lot quicker when you don't have volume to maybe slow it down, because that's what happens when you get into this. It can be kind of a malaise and you go sideways. Now, if you break out, it can be really quite positive. And that was a big breakout. Happened to be an earnings gap, perceived as positive by the market. Now we're holding there. We're again flattening out and starting to, close above the high of the low day. Maybe we start to break above the range. It looks like the highest closing range we've seen. The key point here is what does volume profile suggest? We just got above that key area, and it could be a lot easier for it to move. Okay, there's our first volume profile example. You don't see this a ton, but when I do see it, I like to get these swing trade classes that tie into it for sure. You guys, if you're finding value from this type of discussion, you like the swing trade concept, smash that like button. It's the easiest way just to let us know that you're finding value out of it. And it also helps the YouTube algorithm behind the scenes so that it just helps in that regard. Be sure and subscribe to our channel as well, because we'd love to have you on board like JB likes to do. Do that. Yeah, hit that. All right. I don't know if he did it today. I thought that was cool. All right, here we go. So let's take this off for a second. Let's pull this guy. We're not going to remove it because we've got a few more to look at. Boom, boom. This is an interesting trade in terms of sort of like a flag pattern. You see this move up here? This is the pole of the move. It's sharp. I mean, it happened in just 4 or 5 days, right? Look at the consolidation. Tight. How does our on-balance volume / money flow look? Pretty positive. Pretty positive. There was a lot of volume there. You see it. We're post-earnings, and it was a good earnings number. Folks, we're going sideways. That is very, very similar, actually, to the breakout that we just looked at, right? It's coming up right there. They do pay a dividend as well. Just a side note on that. we did that dividend disclosure earlier, but there you go. There's the pullback, there's the breakout, and let's just take a look at this one. So, what could this trade be? Now, we're by the way, we jumped up to 150. It's kind of a big round number as well. If prices were to come back down, maybe there's some support there. It clearly, previously, there's historical support you can see, but that's the setup right there for it. Okay, and remember, key thing is in terms of our discussion today, a key point is that volume profile. So let's look at this one. It is a little bit more expensive, but we still want to put a round lot on it right now. Buy custom with stop. We'll adjust that stop here in just a second, but good tail cancel, good tail cancel. We could consider adding to this, but let's just do a round lot for now. Okay, order confirmation dialog box, as you can see right there. We'll go ahead and submit that through. You get a sense of margin requirements, etc. There you go. Okay, now for the target of the trade, I'll go ahead and use a drawing tool. There are a couple of different ways to do this. In fact, you want a fast one? Do a trend line like this, pull it up to the high. You don't even need to, now that you've got the space, the distance, activate it and just pull it over to the bottom. That's a much more exact move, and that puts us back to about real close to 180 right there. Okay, let's adjust that stop, but that might be the easiest way in the world to get a price target. There are some other ways, but that's just a single line. It's not too, it doesn't cover the chart too much. Fibonacci's can really make it hard to see where a lot of these levels are. All right, for our potential exit level right there, let's look at it for the stop. I'm going to pull that stop just below today's high right there. But you guys have a sense of where that target is, right? Near 180-ish. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay, yep, that was a prior one. We had Thea that it was the anchored VWAP scan. Yep, we got some scans out there. Since there are a couple of questions on that, let me show you guys where we do go for that specifically. In fact, I'll just go over here and highlight this. If you go to our Trader Talks channel, again, subscribe if you're not already there. We've got 172,000 subscribers at this point in time. But I do have a swing trading, here's our swing trade class. You've got right there. Oh, by the way, on that, just a quick note. This was the class last week that we talked about on balance volume. I think there's a really good overlap if you want to take a look at it with the volume profile. When those two come together, I typed in money flow or on balance volume. If you haven't seen it, that could be of use for you. But where we do a lot of those scans, I don't have time to build a scan right now, but those scans, I have built one. In fact, we just did one last week that I wanted to point out for you guys. Keep going, keep going. Right there. Okay. So as you can see right there, in this playlist for ThinkScript, this is a ThinkScript playlist. I'll throw it in here for you. But this was building a flag pattern finder with early breakout signs. And what that early breakout sign was just the close above the high of the low day. So you have to have that at the end of the flag. It's been somewhat successful. I mean, you can find some of the stocks that will fit that, but it has a little bit of a confirmation at the end that some traders will look for in terms of the hold. All right, so there you go. This is the flag pattern plus hold. If you want to take a look at it, right there. So these two classes, there's a lot of overlap, which is really nice. It's helpful to do, but there you go. All right, so I'll go ahead and this here too, if you want to see the playlist. Okay, there was some questions on it, so we hit that. Great. Okay, let's continue on. What else do we have? Tell you what, we have, we'll go back to our 1-year chart after zooming in on that, and here is CDAL. Another potential breakout, getting right there. This is one we're going to keep an eye on. In fact, I'm going to do this. I'm going to right-click, create an alert, and at or above. Just put a quick note so it texts that to me. Breakout. There you go. And again, to set up those notifications, you have to have that click down below, as I highlighted earlier in the class, but come up top under Setup, Application Settings, folks. Go right there under Notifications, and you can get it there texted to you, right? Just you can add a text number. You can add other numbers right there. You've got, excuse me, an email address, cell phone, etc. But you have to, confirm it in there. But that's where that is done. Okay. One thing that could be interesting here is, and some of the biggest input costs are employee costs and petroleum, or gas. You could say gas. And what has gas been doing? Well, I'll tell you what, it's been fueling things higher. Little pun there, but no, it's true. It has been really dropping, and that's good for who? It's good for consumers, and airlines are just a giant consumer. There's your weekly chart. Look at that. That has been down, folks, since 2022. Really kicked in gear probably in 2020. Well, 5 right here at the end of 2025, a big dip. These are bigger percentages down here too. So this was a big decline. I mean, that right there is 30+% just from the end of 2024 to where we are right now. And so that can be helpful for the airlines. What's another one? UAL? I didn't even look at, well, let's go back to the daily. Not there. I got to right click. Maximize sell, and there you go. Something similar. See, it's bouncing off of a support level and breaking. Not the same as Delta. Delta kind of held pretty flat right there. Okay, that was just a little side note I wanted to put on that. But let's go ahead and take a look at every one of these, because it's going to be part of our theme today. We're going to be we're going to watch this very, very carefully. What do you see? Where is the volume profile? Folks, this is on a full 1 year time scale. Not that little stuff. I'm talking a 1 year. So it's adding up all that volume over 1 year. The top 10% of that volume, we just crossed above it yesterday. That's the point of control. And I would say we're just breaking above it now. So what do we see here in terms of a potential swing trade higher? If this is our measured move, 55 really close to 65 here, you break above this level or close to 65, it could be 10 points higher. And this volume is substantially less than what we've got over here. So not just the setup, not just the crude oil prices potentially favoring this move, but the possibility of a breakout and a breakout now. Money flow holding in there pretty good, up near highs right now, right? So no sell-off in that volume. And more recently, you can see it's just barely beginning to spike. So there you have one right there. We can go ahead, since it's breaking above, let's go ahead and I put an alert in here. I'll tell you what, let's do 50 shares now and 50 more on the breakout, as long as it closes above that level. Deal? We'll start this, and then I can add that stop in after. So let's just do this. So we'll start a position here in this paper money at 50, and we'll just go ahead and put this in right now as a day order. There you have it, buying power effect. So it stands right there, about 15.55. There you go. We just added 50 shares. We'll probably get a fill here momentarily, but that's in anticipation of a breakout. I like to put them in because we don't have all this time during the week. I mean, we only have 40 minutes, right? Roughly, there it is, during our session here, so you guys can at least see what we're doing here. But like we said, could be getting a boost from those lower oil prices. Next up, we're going to keep it rolling here. What about CNC? Okay, very, very similar. Well, this is a tale of two different volume profiles. Up top before the gap and down below. Anytime I see this giant gap, one that we could pretty much drive an 18-wheeler through right there. The thing you like to look at is, will it consolidate after the next earnings? And it did. Did it move? Was it stronger after the next earnings? It was. Almost always when you see a gap like this, it's fundamental in nature, something with the business. oh, we see, there's an issue, something's been postponed or whatever the case is. And I don't know what's going on with Centene. You'd have to look into it for sure, but that's what these can help us with. There's your gap higher. And now we're on the verge of yet another breakout. And what's fascinating here is there is zero volume between here and the next volume profile, which really heats up right around 60. Now, is that a guarantee that we're going to hit 60? We just got to say this. No guarantee. Of course, nothing's a guarantee. It's not a guarantee we're going to hit 60. But again, we're looking for a shorter term move that may be able to move where there is very light volume. In this case, zero. Because, yeah, over the past year, there was just nothing there. And look what we did. That's our key point of control that we're measuring. And where was it? Let me draw a line right through it. Ready? Here we go. Look familiar? That's where we were kind of stuck in a malaise, and we were there for a while. And what do you have here? Massive volume on the gap down. That's adding to it, right? So there's resistance there normally. Here, another gap up. 1, 2, 3, we're above it. So it's just potentially on the verge of going higher here. We don't know, but things are looking somewhat interesting. Accumulation of volume also really quite strong. I'll tell you what we'll do. I'm going to go ahead and just go like this. Some might start a position here. Let's mix it up a little bit. Let's just say if you start to move into this range, let us know about it. Okay, break out question mark as an alert. Okay, on these two. So Centene and this one. All right. Now, here is one. Also, it's a high-priced one. You guys are familiar with it. This is Amgen. Very, very light volume profile here. This is just kind of a bonus one. We blew it out down below. And this is really a sharp move. And great case in point, we're highlighting volume profile. Can you see that perhaps it may have been easier to move up faster? This is a really, really sharp move here as volume profile dipped, right? We got past the point of control is what it's referred to as. We got past it, and it's a very, very sharp move. Well, what's interesting is we are flagging again. So let's zoom into that. Let me take this off for just a second, and we'll take a look at it. Okay. There you have it. So here is the consolidation. What else do we have with this flag? Anybody see anything else here that might be of interest? You might see a flag there. It's certainly a strong pull of the move. I mean, what created the pull? What was part of it? Breaking above the point of control on volume profile. Big moves there. That's a big, big move. Okay. Earnings too. Earnings was tied into it, but nonetheless, there was lighter volume that's been traded in this range, and so prices could have gone up. Now we're holding that level. This is very strong. Cumulative volume. Medical is hot. Yeah, medical is. We've seen some recovery in that group. Yeah, there's been an interesting sector rotation. I'm just reading the comments here. What the comment was, medical is hot. It's had a sector rotation is the way I'll read that. Yeah, for sure, from the market, right, from the S&P 500. When prices went down. This one's holding, though, its range. Do you guys see anything else there, though, that might stand out? It did just pay a dividend. Let me add one more thing. It starts with a K and ends with a hold. Are we getting the K hold? We might be getting the K hold today. Today. We're coming down to about 20 minutes left. That's the first time we've had a K hold in this move right here. Some traders might wait for the next day follow through just to see if prices go higher. But that would be one of the points to note. Okay. It's a very expensive stock. So what I wanted to do was maybe just start this one out even smaller. I mean, it's $340. Some traders might end up doing an option trade on here. We're going to postpone the option trades today, but I mean, there are ways to, do other sorts of options as well. But I'm just going to do 25 shares here, and we'll put an exit, just potential exit in form of a stop just below the bar today's bar. We're keeping them tight. And that could really help to influence our risk reward relationship. Because if this does flag, the beauty of this is, folks, that's a sharp move for 3 to 15 days. It's not 15 days for sure. But if we were to do this again, just eyeballing it here, and we were to rally up here again, that's the number I was looking at before class. 400. Close to, approximately. I don't know if we'll hit that, but 400. That's the flag sideways here. Think about our risk versus potential return. Potential risk, potential return. If our potential exits right below today's bar, but it runs up there, well, that's small relative to a big upward move. Not to say that we're going to take it all the way there, but we could. And I'm starting it out really small, which is 25 shares. Just the 25. But some interesting flag patterns today, you guys. I hope you picked up really the influence that that volume profile can have, because it is interesting. And when you start to get moving above it, there's nothing 100%, but there might just be less sort of friction to get through. There's just less buying and selling, and maybe we can start to break above, which is what traders look for with the volume profile, those that are using it. All right, there you go. So there's our Amgen. Just like I said, 25, but I'll tell you what, before we're done, we've got to adjust this stop right to where we said we would, which is just below today's high. It's somewhere in that range. Today's bar. All right, but it's still looking like it could hold. Getting there. We'll see how it ends up during the end of the day. Folks, if you did like today's presentation, smash that like button, give us a follow, and you can follow James and I on X as well. James Boyd, CS, got some great stuff there. Mike Fairborn, CS is mine. Folks, if I don't see you before, because I don't think I have a class before Thanksgiving, have a fantastic and happy, got to say happy in there, happy Thanksgiving. Yeah, have a great rest of the day as well. We're just about done here, but all right, I'll take care. Thanks so much, JB, for your help in the chat as well. I didn't see any surveys, so we're all set. All right, Bob, I'll take care. See you next time.